Hi guys, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Kyra, and here on this channel, we are all about makeup, our makeup. And we really like using what we already have. And in fact, we're not here for Instagram editorial looks. We're just here for real makeup, for real life and real people like us. Fair warning, Oliver is going in and out of the beauty room this morning, so if you hear him, that's what's going on. He's antsy. So today's video is all about the most used makeup in my collection for the first quarter. This year I decided I wanted to do more like quarterly content, like quarterly favorites, quarterly most used makeup, etc. So last week you would have seen my first quarter favorites, and this week we are doing my most used makeup for the first quarter. First and foremost, all of the data was final as of March 20th is when I compiled all of the numbers, and for all intents and purposes started my second quarter. I try to be as accurate as possible, but all numbers are based on what's been recorded. And by recorded, I mean I have another composition notebook like this one that I write down my makeup that I wear every single day. Not always when I'm not filming. Sometimes I forget or I'm in a hurry, but like I said, I try to do the best that I can. So based on that, the number of days that I wore makeup out of the 79 days that I recorded in the first quarter was 38 times. So 38 days out of 79 days is how many times I wore makeup. As a reminder, I did break my leg at the end of January, so for February I almost wore no makeup at all. So that definitely affected the number of days that I wore makeup, and ultimately it averaged out to be about 48% of the time for the first quarter that I wore makeup. The next interesting piece of information that I found is that I used 171 different products in those 38 days that I wore makeup. And then lastly, 80 was the number of products that I used only one time out of that 171 products. So I find that interesting. So the next part is we are going to talk about the top number in every category, and this number does not include my Project Pan items. Overall, my Project Pan products are going to get the most amount of use typically in any given quarter or at any given time. So I decided that it would be more fun to look at the products that aren't in my Project Pan and see which one's ranked where. For foundation, I used this one 6 times, which was the most of any foundation. It's the L'Oreal True Match Nude Tinted Serum. I have the shade 23 Light, and I love this stuff. There's no surprise. I keep reaching for this one even after I've kind of run it through my review process. I haven't formally reviewed it. That will come up eventually in a reviewing recent purchases, but I did get this in January, but I did wear it 6 times. For concealer, again, for 6 uses was the Shiseido Synchro Skin Self-Refreshing Concealer, and I have mine in the shade 201 Light. And again, I wore this 6 times. I really like this one. This one got used the most in spite of having a concealer in a Project Pan, which we'll get to after a bit. But this is really good, and it was my most used concealer. For powder, hands down, it is this one, and I did use it 35 times out of the 38 times that I wore makeup, and that is because it is the powder that I set my under eyes with almost every day, and that is the number 7 Lift and Illuminate Triple Action Finishing Powder in the shade Light. It's just my go-to. I don't even try and set my under eyes with other powders. This is the one. For bronzer, I had a 3-way tie with each one being used 3 times. First, it is my L'Oreal True Match Lumi Bronze It. Second, it was my Flower Beauty Heat Wave Luminous Bronzer. I think this one because it's a favorite, and this one because it was new to my collection in January. And then lastly, my Nabla Skin Bronzing Sun-Kissed Effect Bronzing Powder in the shade Soft Revenge. And I think this one just ended up getting used because of the matching blushes and highlights I was using a lot. And speaking of Nabla, my most used blush is, I'll tell you the first one and the second place, were both of my Nabla Skin Glazing Glass Skin Finish Glow Powders. The one that took the cake at 5 uses is this one in the shade Independence. Again, this one was new to me in January, but it has become a quick favorite. If you did watch my favorite makeup from first quarter, you would have seen this one. It is my current favorite blush and probably one of my favorite blushes of all time. But coming in second place at 3 uses was the shade Lola, which is the shade that I had purchased first. And I definitely see myself using Lola more in the spring and as summer approaches. So I thought it was cool that first and second place went to Nabla. For highlight, again, I had a 2-way tie. Each of these I used 3 times in the first quarter, starting with the Flower Beauty Day Glow Highlighting Glaze in the shade Stunner. Now, I have a feeling that I actually wore this more than 3 times, which is why I'm mentioning it first. Again, it's to the best of my recording, as in recording in a document ability, but definitely, I think this is the number one. However, the second one that also was recorded as used 3 times is the M Cosmetics Moonbeam Cushion Highlighter in the shade Aura. Next, the eyeshadow palette that I used the most at 7 uses in the first quarter was my Patrick Ta Major Dimension palette. I recently put up a 3 looks 1 palette with this one, and I'll link that down below in case you missed it. But I not only used this quite a bit for that video, but I also grabbed for it multiple times between... Oliver has a bone in the beauty room, so if you can hear chomping, I apologize. But anyhow, definitely my most used palette and also my favorite palette of the first quarter. Spoiler alert if you haven't seen that video yet. For mascara at 10 uses is the Sephora Big by Definition Sample Mascara. Super regular wand on it, but I love the formula and I love the length and definition that it gives. So much so that I bought the full size. For lip liner, I don't actually know exactly how many times that I used this lip liner, but I know I have used it so much that it's almost gone, and I know with 100% certainty that this is the lip liner that I use the most. When I looked at the tallies of how much I recorded it, it was just a couple, but ultimately the Milani Understatement lip liner in the shade Nude Entrance is definitely my most used. This is all that's left of my second pencil, and I have my third one waiting in the wings as a backup because this is just the best. For lipstick, this actually surprised me. I do tend to like rotate through my lipsticks pretty well. The most used lipstick at 4 times or 4 uses is the Merit Beauty Signature Lip Lightweight Lipstick in the shade Baby. Oliver, you're so loud. Looks like this. It's just a nice neutral pink shade. It's just a nice lipstick. It feels like a balm, but it performs like a lipstick. For lip gloss, this is kind of like the lip liner. I had recorded 4 times, but if you've been around on my channel, you know that I use this lip gloss all the time. So I actually wrote down 4+++ times. And that is my Rimmel Stay Glossy in the shade Blushing Belgraves. I love this one. It's my favorite, like, more opaque lip gloss to apply to the center of the lips for a little bit of a lighter look, kind of highlighting the center of the lips, if you will. And it'll probably always be my most used lip gloss, if I'm being honest, but we'll find out next quarter. So next I have my top 3 including Project Pan products and my top 3 overall in terms of uses. So my top 3 overall including Project Pan products. Again, the number 1 product was the Lift and Illuminate powder at 35 uses, which by the way is not in a project. I just use it every day. In second place at 26 uses is my Tarte Clay Play Volume 1. This is my Pan That palette this year, so there's no surprise there. I used this puppy 26 times in the first quarter. And then third place at 20 uses is my Bare Minerals Bare Skin Complete Coverage Serum Concealer. Again, this is in a Project Pan. It is in my Partners in Cream project, so it's not a surprise that I use this a bunch. And then for my non-Project Pan top 3, again, number 1 goes to my Lift and Illuminate powder at 35 uses. Number 2 is the Nude Entrance lip liner. And then number 3 at 10 uses was the Sephora Big by Definition mascara sample. So that is what I have for you today. Hopefully you enjoyed hearing all the numbers and just kind of seeing what I was using the most during the first quarter of the year. Some of them are newer, some of them are definitely not. I'm really curious and interested to see what this will look like for the second quarter of the year, where allegedly I will be wearing makeup more days than I did in the first quarter. If you're curious how I do this, I write my makeup down every day in my MOTD notebook, and then how I ultimately figured everything out is that I wrote each thing down as I came across it in my MOTD notebook, and then as I saw each additional use, I just kind of tally marked things, and then I went through and wrote down, you know, the totals and kind of went from there. I hate math, but I love statistics. So let me know down below, did you enjoy this video? Did I just make your head hurt? I'm fine with either. I just like this kind of thing. I mostly do it for myself, but at the same time, I enjoy sharing it with you guys. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, you could give it a thumbs up because it really helps me out and lets me know that you'd like to see more videos like this in the future. If you haven't subscribed to our channel already, I hope you will do that before you leave today. And I hope all of your makeup days are absolutely beautiful makeup days. I will see you in my next video very, very soon.